Welcome. Edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you as I always am, over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250 plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. That's Credit Karma, K-A-R-M-A. Get knowing. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Lots of stuff going on in the world of sports today. Going to get into a little football a little bit later on. Antonio Brown talking about Juju Smith-Schusters and others within the NFL community responding to just that. Obviously, some stuff going on in the NBA, the battle for seedings. I don't know if there's ever been a time in recent NBA history where actual seedings played such an important and pivotal role to the outlook of some playoff series going on. There's no question about that. That's something to get into. The Golden State Warriors, the two-time reigning defending champions, played their last regular season game at the Oracle last night, blowing out the Los Angeles Clippers. That's neither here nor there. The Clippers are in the playoffs. We'll see what they do. Things can get interesting there. We'll talk about that. Obviously, LeBron James has some things to say over the weekend about where he stood, what he's going to be all about, and we'll talk about that as we move forward. Plus, I'm hearing some news percolating in the NBA community, what's going on with Kyrie Irving, New York, LA, etc., etc. So stay tuned for that bit of noise. And plus, I want to talk a little bit about a column that was written in the New York Daily News yesterday, Sunday's paper, by the great sports columnist, baseball columnist to be exact, the one and only Bill Madden. It just doesn't get much better, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't get much better. I've been reading him since I was a kid, and the guy is absolutely phenomenal, and wrote another exceptional column yesterday about the state of Major League Baseball as it pertains to some of these contracts, particularly with Xander Bogaerts signing a 6-year, $120 million deal. How it's going to be easier for the Yankees to re-up Didi Gregorius in the event that it comes to that. Aaron Judge in the event that this comes to that. Dallas Keuchel and others that are still without contracts, not playing for anybody, which is a shocker. That's something we'll get into as the show progresses today. But the first order of business is to get into what's scheduled to take place tonight in Minneapolis, Minnesota at US Bank Stadium. It will be Texas Tech winners, 61-51 winners over Michigan State in the national semifinal. Congratulations to Tom Izzo and the Michigan State Spartans, by the way, for balling the way that they did prior to this point. They just ran into a team that has a defense that's capable of putting forth a defensive performance the likes of which I have not seen. I'm not going to lie to you. This team, I mean, you could go back to 40 Minutes of Hell. You could go back to the Running Rebels when they wanted to amp it up on you. Duke, when they wanted to amp it up on you. You could go back to Nolan Richardson's 40 Minutes of Hell. Like I said, you could go to Hoya Paranoia, the days when Gene Smith was spearheading John Thompson's defense, and he had Patrick Ewing in the background, Reggie Williams, Michael Jackson, Michael Graham and the crew. I mean, but I look at this Texas Tech defense, and I just got to tell you, it's something special. I mean, Cassius Winston is undersized. I understand that. Shot 4-16 from the field, played 40 minutes, only had one turnover in the Elite Eight, had four turnovers in the 40 minutes he played Saturday night. Couldn't really do much of anything. Freshman Aaron Henry, famous for Izzo yelling at him during the NCAA tournament. That's come and gone. McQuaid playing just scoring just 12 points in 37 minutes of action. They were the only guys that scored double figures for Michigan State. Only 4 players scored. Or actually 5 players scored for Michigan State. Xavier Tillman had 7. Nick Ward had 5. But when you look at Texas Tech, and I know they're going up against a Virginia squad that some believe were lucky. But when you look at Texas Tech, I will tell you this. I'm not counting on Jared Culver having a game like he had in the national semifinal Saturday night. Shot 3 of 12 from the field, scored just 10 points, played 33 minutes. I expect a better game from him. This is a guy that we were talking about projecting him as a potential top 5 pick overall in the upcoming NBA draft. That's what we were talking about when it came to this guy. Okay, so don't have me sit here and believe that he's going to have back-to-back games where he's impotent offensively and virtually non-existent for the first 35 minutes of the game. I don't believe it. I believe that Jarrett Culver is going to show up tonight and he is going to ball out. I think Mooney will join him. He will make some shots. I think Texas Tech, again, might win. Now, please don't take my word for it. I mean, my pool is awful now. Up till the Sweet 16, I was in the top 1 percentile. And then the Sweet 16 came and went, and I fell off the map. All true. And I think you look at Virginia, I'm not going to lie to you. It was a strictly emotional decision as to why I haven't picked Virginia at all. And the reason why I haven't picked Virginia at all, because I didn't want to see them. A matter of fact, this matchup tonight, I don't think will be good ratings-wise. Let me be very clear about that. I don't think too many people are going to clamor to watch this game. You will miss Zion Williamson. You will miss Zion Williamson. That is somebody that you absolutely positively was rooting for to play until the last possible minute. I had Carolina beating Duke for the national title personally, but I'm here to tell you something. I wanted Zion Williamson playing every minute of this NCAA tournament until the NCAA tournament came to an end. Because, ladies and gentlemen, he is box office. He is box office. He's a human highlight reel. True. But it ain't just for his dunks. He could steal a ball. He could make a regular power post move, drop step, go into the paint, lay it in. Everything you see this guy do, you're magnetized by or towards. This dude is that special. And God help anybody if he learns how to use his right hand. Because let me tell you something. He's not as ambidextrous as he could be as of yet. And R.J. Barrett, that advice goes to you too. My God, you need to learn how to use your right hand. Don't be somebody like Clyde Drexler who only used his right and then he used his left, even though he's a Hall of Famer. Don't be somebody like Jalen Rose who is primarily a southpaw lefty. We live in a different age, a different time, with the advancement of analytics, technology, and everything in between. And you can't be a one-armed bandit and do but so much, with the exception of a Zion Williamson who is 280-plus pounds. So when you're 280, here's what happens. People tend to move the hell out of your way because they know a Mack truck is coming at them. Now, that was in college. In a pros where you're going up against grown men. Most of them will move out the way. Some of them may not. And as a result, it might behoove you to add a little versatility to your arsenal. And to learn to use your right hand. Learn to go right. Learn to finish right. Learn to finish with your right hand as opposed to going left and finish with your left all the time. But Zion Williams is big time. Zion Williamson is big time. And there ain't nobody like that left in this tournament. But Culver can ball. And I think Texas Tech should have an edge. Let me get to Virginia and Auburn for a second, because it's important that I bring that up. You could say Virginia lucked up, 63-62 winners over Auburn. But there's a couple of things to take into consideration, ladies and gentlemen. You could say that they lucked up because there was a double dribble that was missed. It should have been called. And Kyle Guy got fouled on a three-point shot. That was a foolish play by Samir Dowdy. You can say all of that. Let me say a couple of things to you. Number one, you were up 4 with 17 seconds left. You were up 4 with 17 seconds left. So it's important to point that out. That is number one. Number two, you Samir Dowdy. How in God's name are you going to sit up there and say you didn't think you touched the guy? When Kyle Guy launched this three from the left corner, you see Samir Dowdy make contact. Why? First of all, you jumped into him, and you did touch him when you jumped into him. Secondly, you gave him no place to land. You have to give a shooter a landing spot. You can't low bridge him. You can't come under him like that. They're going to call that foul. That was the right call by the official. That was the right call. I hated the fact that the call was made and that it decided a trip to the national championship game. I hated that. I'm sick for Bruce Pearl, who did an outstanding job at Auburn this year. I'm sick for Bruce Pearl. But the reality is that call had to be made. That was definitely a foul. There is no question about it. There was a double dribble before that, but that was definitely a foul. And here's why Virginia won the game as opposed to Auburn losing it. Ladies and gentlemen, with .6 seconds left, Kyle Guy, 15 points, 5 of 11 shooting, hit all 3 of his free throws for the game. He goes to the line. Those are the only 3 free throws he took. He goes to the line with less than 1 second left in regulation, down 2. And ladies and gentlemen, made all 3 free throws. And when I say he made all 3, I mean he made all 3. I'm not talking about clanking and bouncing in. It touched nothing but the bottom of the net. All 3 shots. He went up there, as God rest his wonderful soul, the great Stuart Scott used to always say, cool as the other side of the pillow. Walked up to the free throw line with less than 1 second left and drained all 3 free throws with ease. With ease. Ladies and gentlemen, that's winning basketball. Kyle Guy deserves our respect for that. That's winning basketball right there. Okay? That's winning basketball. There is no denying that most NBA players in that situation would miss. They miss at least 1, probably some 2, some all 3. Kyle Guy stepped up to the free throw line like it was nobody's business. Like he was Stephen A. B. eating a bag of cheese curls. And he said, let me just give me the ball. And finished the job. So as a result, we've got Virginia going up against Texas Tech, which has the potential to be one of the ugliest national championship games we have ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand that there are some people that are predicting both teams will score less than 50 points? Do you realize that? There are people predicting that both teams will score less than 50 apiece. You have any idea what kind of awful basketball, how far back in archaic times this has the potential to take us? This has the potential to take us back to Dean Smith and his 4 corners, when there was no shot clock, where you could spend all day, every day passing the ball and not shooting. This has the potential to be that. I'm prayerful that it won't be. But it does have that potential. I'm not looking forward to tonight's national championship game at all. There's nothing about the national championship game tonight that thrills me. I'm hoping that Culver shows out. I'm hoping that Guy shows out. I'm hoping that both teams score over 80. I'm hoping to see a shootout. I'm hoping to see both teams running and gunning. Here's the problem. These are 2 of the greatest defensive teams in all of college basketball. Their specialty is shutting you down. Their specialty is shutting you down. So I look at it from that perspective and I say, damn it. Oh, wow. That's the way it goes. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. On a baseball matter, just for a distraction for a moment before I get to a little NBA talk, Bill Madden's column yesterday was highlighting the low attendance numbers with the Marlins and Derek Jeter. There's a simple reason for that. Derek Jeter ain't a Marlin. Derek Jeter's a Yankee. South Beach and that Miami area don't give a damn about Derek Jeter. All they cared about was that he was right down the road in Tampa. So they were getting some money from him, although it wasn't in state income tax, because they don't have that in Florida. They don't give a damn about Derek Jeter. We would. New York Yankee fans, die-hard New York Yankee fans, we would. Miami don't care. There's a lot of distractions in South Beach, y'all. You ain't got to go down to watch the Marlins. The other thing that Bill Madden pointed to that I found incredibly intriguing, I must confess, he was talking about Bogarts for the Red Sox and how he agreed to a 6-year, $120 million deal. He was speaking about the money. He didn't mention this, but I'm just bringing up some contracts. That ain't Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, or Mike Trout. I'm bringing up other guys. And you notice that everybody's clamoring for the money right now, and people don't want to go towards free agency. And you're wondering why that is. It's because owners in Major League Baseball ain't spending money the way that they used to. When you look at a guy like Dallas Keuchel, this guy won the Cy Young 3 years ago. He's without a job, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody has signed him. Nobody has signed him. And you look at it from that perspective, a Bogart said, man, $20 million a year, 6 years, $120 million to stay in Boston, which is where I want to be anyway. Take that deal now. Take that deal right now. A Hicks with 10 years, $70 million from the Yankees. Take that deal right now. Take it right now. Along with a host of others. Because this ain't the baseball that it used to be. Where you got a strong players union. And free agency is what it's all about. And nothing should ever compromise that. According to the great Marvin Miller. Well, that has changed. And if you're a New York Yankee fan, this is cause for good news. Because suddenly keeping Aaron Judge isn't expected to be that hard. And a D.D. Gregorius, when he comes back, ain't going to be in a position to command but so much. Well, Bogart's getting what he's getting paid. So this is a good thing. The thing that's fascinating, and you'll say, Stephen A., why are you so fascinated by this story? Oh, my God, what's the big deal? Here's the big deal. Long time ago, stretching into modern history, baseball was always considered to be the privileged sport. Apple pie, white picket fences, America's national pastime, associated more than any other sport with white privilege as ever there was a sport. And then you had a strong players union with players that knew how to stand their ground, that looked at the money that owners were making, and they were like, nah, you're going to take care of us in free agency. You're going to take care of us when we become those prospective free agents. Ain't going to be all of these arbitration cases compromising us and our marketability. Nah, we ain't having that. Times have changed. According to Bill Madden's column, caring about extra time off and chefs in the kitchen inside of clubhouses was a priority over dollars and cents. And now it's coming back to bite the players. And then you know what? And owners are taking advantage. I never thought the day would come when I could say this. But if you really, really think about it, even though nothing's perfect and there are things that you wish that the NBA players will have done differently, and of course the NFL players would have done differently, a legitimate argument could be made that the NBA, with 80% black population, an African American as its president, an African American woman as its executive director, Michelle Roberts, you can make a legitimate argument today, unlike at any other time in the history of sports, that NBA players actually have the better unions. That was never the case before. Hell, at one time, hockey was considered better. At one time, football was considered better. Even when people were complaining about the late, great Eugene Upshaw. The reality is that right now, the NBA union and how players are taken care of seems to be even better than football or baseball. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? 888 say ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I'll get into some NBA stuff because I'm hearing some stuff by Kyrie in regards to the Knicks and the Lakers that I want to share with you. Hearing the same things about Kevin Durant. You'll want to stay tuned to what I have to say about that. So stick around, don't touch that dial. But before I get into anything, I want to get into this one last story about Zion Williamson. And I don't have the story in front of me, so I'm just going to paraphrase for you. At this particular moment in time, folks are looking into what went down with Zion Williamson because apparently his mother was a consultant for Nike, or she was paid by Nike, this lawyer. And I'll have all the details for you. It was the lawyer that was representing the porn star that allegedly had dalliances with our commander-in-chief. This same lawyer is in trouble due to allegations that he had tried to embezzle some money from Nike. But I'll have all the details for that to refresh my memory about that once we come back from commercial. Here's the reality of this story, or what I want to get into about Zion. There's an uproar because apparently playing at a private institution like Duke, and you can make the argument that Zion, obviously, like most marquee players on the collegiate level, are getting taken care of. So automatically, that breeds the conversation of student athletes being paid. And what's the big deal? First of all, the rules are broken, and you never know how that can affect the program, even though I don't see anything like that happening. Sneaker companies funneling money to programs through AAU programs, stuff like that. This is not new to anybody. But I will tell you this. I am sick and tired. I am absolutely, positively sick and freaking tired of this notion that equality is the rule of the day, that all student athletes should be paid. That is not true. That is not true. Do I think that student athletes should be compensated? Yes. But I keep telling y'all, as I have always told you throughout my career, I am a proud capitalist. That's why I love living in America, and it's the greatest country in the world. I ain't trying to be in Russia. I ain't trying to be in Switzerland. I'm not trying to live in a socialist, a communist, a fascist. Nope, I'm a capitalist. And damn proud of it. And I am of the belief that if you are Zion Williamson and you are at Duke, you deserve to be paid more than the dude from North Dakota. Now, if y'all really think about it, if you really think about who you are and what you are about as you go into that work, as you get up and you pull yourself out of bed every morning and you go to work on a mission to succeed and to be great at what you do with the ultimate goal of being compensated fairly for it, think about this. There are those who deserve more. And there are those who should be happy with what they get. Zion Williamson and the Duke basketball program. Do you really think that the students at North Dakota deserve to be paid the same? Or Boise for basketball? If you play in Alabama football, do you really think that the football team at St. John's, assuming they have one, deserves to get paid the same amount of money? There are those who should receive a stipend. There are those who should be paid more. And then there are those who should be happy with the damn scholarship they have. That's the real world. Let's stop acting like we don't know it, please. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. If you haven't tried the incredible high-quality meat from ButcherBox, you're going to be blown away. ButcherBox delivers 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, free-range organic chicken, and heritage breed pork right to your door. They work closely with the best farms and companies committed to raising animals humanely. From grass-fed beef to free-range organic chicken to wild-caught sockeye salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska, ButcherBox has over 20 different cuts of meat to choose from, with customizable boxes and a variety of other options to choose from. And ButcherBox also comes at an affordable price as well. With free shipping, you can get a month's worth of the best-tasting meat from ButcherBox for less than $6 a meal. ButcherBox is offering my listeners the ultimate breakfast bundle. 2 packs of the best-tasting bacon you've ever had and 2 pounds of their custom breakfast sausage, plus $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Stephen A. That's butcherbox.com/Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Back to your calls and maybe a few guests. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. coming right at you. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Barbasol. Hey, sports fans. Barbasol is offering you a chance to score big when you join the Barbasol Shave Club. Grab your premium starter kit for just $1.99 today with code SHAVE at Barbasol.com.